welcome to Rise Up Podcast. My name is Vicky Ross and I'm your host. Today, I want to talk about, that feeling that something's off and you can't explain it, you can't name it, you just feel it and you don't know what to do about it. So this is what I'm going to talk about today. It's a very special kind of frustration. And if you're listening to this, you probably recognize it. You're not lost. It's not like you are somewhere where you don't know where you should be. It's not like you're lacking an ability to do something. And it's not that you are someone that hasn't done the work. You've probably done so much work on trying to figure out what is feeling off. And yet there are moments where you feel like something isn't working and I really don't know what it is. To the point that if you've had some coaching or counseling, some therapy, and you've been asked, you probably go, I don't know. I just feel it. I just feel it's wrong. And even when they say, well, how do you know it's wrong? You say, I don't know. It's just something that I feel. So you obviously don't know enough to fix it. It's not logical enough for you to solve it, but you feel it. And this is where most people get stuck, because when you don't know what the problem is, you default to thinking more like you will analyze, you will reflect, you will try to figure things out. And that works to a point, but only if the problem is conscious. Because if the issue sits underneath your awareness, you can't think your way to it, because how would you? It's not something that is logical. And this is exactly the space that I love to work in. So over the years, I've developed a process for accessing what's there without the conscious mind getting in the way. You see, what I saw is that people that read a lot about spirituality, enlightenment, personal development, especially the personal development, and there is a little bit of a rabbit hole that we go down to in the personal development. There's a lot of promises that are not being met. So if you're one of those people and then you go and do something different, your conscious mind, your ego, is going, oh, here we go. She's trying now to get in a different way. So I'll just block it again. Because your ego is trained to be the gatekeeper to the unconscious mind. You see, the unconscious, your energy field, all of that has all the information that you need. So nothing is lacking. You don't have any gaps. But the ego can't get there. And the ego is fear-based, and therefore the ego will always try and stop you, prevent you from getting there, because it likes to do what is familiar with, because then it can predict outcomes. And even if those outcomes are shite, the ego will go, I know how to deal with this. So what I was looking for is a way that we can bypass the conscious resistance and still have that conversation with people, accessing information that is there, but how do we get there? So that's what I was looking for. And because I couldn't find anything, I eventually was able to make something up that works beautifully. It's like gobsmackingly great. And I call it the quantum alignment of consciousness. And I started this off, just to give you a bit of background, and I worked on it for about 3 years. And then one day in Greece, I was just intuitively drawn to use this exercise with one of my clients. And when she finished, she said, this has been the best modality I've ever experienced. Why aren't you putting this out there in the world? And I said, because it needs more work. And I knew it needed more work. But I didn't have anybody around me that understood what this was about. But she did. So we co-developed it thereafter. So there's a friend of mine in Greece, she's a spiritual therapist, that also uses this. So it's our method now. Now, this isn't about positive thinking, because as you all know, if you've listened to other episodes, I don't believe in positive thinking or negative thinking or good or bad to a large point. So it's not about mindset. It's not about giving you more information because you've got it all. Because the work, because most people I work with already have enough information. The problem is what's happening underneath that and how do we get access to it. So when someone comes to me, I don't jump to solutions. I listen very carefully. I know that in the language, there's a lot of information that most people don't know how to listen to. There are patterns, there are contradictions, there are things that don't realize they're revealing. And I extract key concepts from that conversation. Now, instead of analyzing those concepts with them, with my clients, I remove the meaning completely. And I assign to each concept a number. So it might be number 1, might be number 2, number 3. But the key thing is here that my clients don't know or have no idea what these numbers represent. Then I ask them to place these numbers in spaces around them. And there's nothing logical about that because I'll just give you a number and I say, put it anywhere in the room. Look around the room and just feel yourself where you're drawn to do this. Just use your intuition. I then ask them to stand in that where that number is and to speak from it. And this is where it gets interesting because they'll start saying things like, I feel restricted, or I feel heavy, I feel lost, I feel angry, I don't feel safe to move, I want more, but something is stopping me. And they're describing it perfectly, even though they have no idea what the number is representing. And that is what the magic and the beauty is with this technique. Because the body knows, the system knows, the energy field knows, but the thinking mind interferes because the thinking mind thinks it knows better than everybody else, yet it doesn't. So when you remove meaning, you remove resistance because the ego can't go, oh, I think that is, and I think the answer should be, and I think the solution is. The ego can't actually get involved. So we work with what's underneath, and that can finally come out. This is the kind of work that helps when you're feeling stuck, but you can't explain why. You keep repeating patterns that don't make sense because you've overanalyzed them throughout your years, and yet the pattern still comes back. You know what to do, but you're not doing it, and you don't know why you're not doing it. Or things start and stop, and you don't understand the inconsistency. Perhaps you feel blocked, and there's no real reason or clear reason as to why. And that's what's important because most people try to solve things at the surface level when actually this issue isn't the surface. And what I see again and again is this, that once that underlying dynamic becomes visible, things shift very quickly. Not because we force things, but because the system no longer needs to hold into the same way or no longer needs to keep it blocked, to keep you stuck. It just, boom, it's like removing boulders out of your pathway. It's amazing how fast things can work. So this isn't anything mystical, and it's not guessing. It's not about me telling someone what's wrong. It's about accessing information that is already there, but normally blocked. And it's wonderful because the information is not what I say, it's what they say. Now, what happens after that is very tangible because people leave with clarity, direction, a sense of resolution, and often things that were stuck start to move magically. So I know in this description it feels or sounds simple, and it is and it isn't. So if you've ever felt like, I know something isn't right, but I don't know what it is, you're not missing something. You're just trying to access it. You access that information in the wrong way. And sometimes the answer isn't more thinking, but it's about removing the interference so that you can see clearly what is already there. So if you want to take this further, like, okay, I want to have this experience, or I would like to know more, I feel this way, I'd like to at least have a conversation with you. You can reach me, you can get in touch with me by sending me an email, booking a session through my website, sending me a message through the podcast, but you can get in touch with me in many different ways. And if this sounded like, hey, you know what, I need to pass this on to a friend, please do them the favor and send it to them. They may not do anything about it, or they may absolutely love you for it. So just send it over and share the love. If you want to do more work with me, I have got a wonderful membership that I run, and we talk about all sorts of things. We've got themed months, we've got lessons. It's just a lovely space for you to develop, see yourself, question yourself, and bring change and create the life that you want. For the rest, I wish you well, and till we meet again. And for the rest, I wish you a good week, and here's to your success. Thank you for listening.